What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, let's do this. This week in boxing, episode 3. No major fight cards in the UK. I don't even think there was any small hall shows. I'm guessing that's because obviously the Premier League kicked off this weekend and you don't want to clash with the opening weekend of the Premier League. You are going to lose. So I'm guessing that's why there was no fights sort of penciled in for yesterday and Friday or the whole week, to be honest. No interest either, really, from a UK standpoint about some of the fights in America. Carl Frampton was supposed to fight but injured his hand. I was going to do a video about Carl Frampton, talking about what next for him. He's saying he wants a title fight. He's going to go straight in now. This was supposed to be a warm-up fight. Now he's saying if he gets the option to go straight into a title fight, he's going to do it. What do you guys think about Carl Frampton? Still there? Still at that level, or maybe not? There was a lot of talk about him maybe retiring after the Josh Warrington loss. He hasn't. I don't think he should. I think there's still a couple of big fights in there, but I wonder with who. He's been chasing Leo Santa Cruz forever. Not happening. Oscar Valdez has now moved up in weight and vacated. Shakur Stevenson's going to fight for that vacated belt. Obviously, Josh Warrington, he's had that fight. And who else has got a title? Gary Russell Jr. Never mentioned him before. So I don't know what next for Carl Frampton, but it is upsetting that he didn't have that fight. I don't know if you guys saw or heard about the freak accident. He was just sitting down in the lobby and this kind of, I don't know how to call it, like a metal block just fell, landed on his hand. And he done an interview saying I think he spent like 30 to 40 grand on fight camp. Left his family, didn't see his wife and kids, all for that to happen. So that's a shame. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Fought on the weekend, getting a first round stoppage against Evit Bravo. Said he wants Alfred Angulo next, then a world title fight at super middleweight. 6,000 people turned up to watch this. So bear in mind that we knew it was all going to be kind of a 1 round, 2 round blowout. 6,000 people still turned up to watch Julio Cesar Chavez. So he still is a draw. And although, even if he beats Angulo, I don't think he's deserving of a world title shot. He might get one just because I think he still is a draw. This is boxing. Jason Sosa beat Haskell Rhodes by TKO in the 7th. You guys might remember Jason Sosa from a UK standpoint beat Stephen Smith, but then lost back-to-backs against Loma and Gamboa. This is now 3 wins on the bounce. He's kind of back in the mix, I guess. A guy that I'm very, very high about, a guy that I think could do some damage in 2020. I'm not saying clean out the division, hell no, but some damage. Virgil Ortiz. He got the win in the 6th round, stopping Antonio Orozco. This fight was at welterweight, his first fight at welterweight, 147 pounds. That takes his record now to 14 fights, 14 wins, 14 knockouts as well. They've got to be careful. I saw highlights of this fight just now on YouTube. He got caught a bit. He looked comfortable, and maybe he got caught a bit because he thought he could walk through Antonio Orozco's punches. Orozco's no bum, by the way. This was a step up. But they got to be careful because now he's in the welterweight division. Anything in and around the top 20 is dangerous. And again, I like Virgil Ortiz, but they've got to not rush it. I can see them maybe rushing this one. They don't need to. A shocker. This one is a big, big upset. Adam Gonzalez beat Robiso Ramirez. For those of you who don't know about Ramirez, Ramirez is a double Olympic champion. Beat Shakur Stevenson at Rio 2016. Bob Arum was talking a lot about him, obviously comparing him to Vasyl Lomachenko. And unfortunately, he lost his first fight. He can come back for that, don't get me wrong. But again, there is a big difference between scoring points as an amateur and actually winning fights. And obviously, he's not made that transition well enough. Because Adam Gonzalez is a guy that's lost a few times. I think his record is something like 5-4-4, like a weird record like that. And he beat him. He actually put Ramirez down, I think, in the 1st round. So we've got a lot to work on there. So again, not many fights this weekend. Weird weekend for boxing, but those are the fights that I thought make some sense to talk about. All right, fights announced. There were loads of fights announced this week. Fights announced, fights rumored, loads. The first one we'll talk about is Munguia. Munguia was rumored to be fighting, or at least in the discussions anyway, to be fighting Jesse Vargas. His name was linked with Golovkin. His name was linked with Canelo. And in the end, he will defend his WBO super welterweight strap against Patrick Alotti. I don't know too much about Patrick Alotti, but it's good to see Munguia back. He didn't look good in his last fight. I think he had that fight against this Asian boxer. I can't remember the name. Didn't look great. But it'd be good to see him back. That's September the 14th. Ryan Garcia's on that card as well. The IBF have officially ordered that Richard Comey will defend his belt against Teofimo Lopez. They will go to purse bids if they can't agree. It's a good fight. They're rushing Teofimo, you know. I like Teofimo Lopez. I mean, I done my prospect of the year video. Obviously, when did I do it? December. And I think he was my prospect of the year. But they're rushing him. They're rushing him. I think Richard Comey could beat him. Not saying it's an easy fight. So people might say, well, they're not rushing him if it's not easy, which I agree with. But I just feel like they can maybe take a couple of steps back. Maybe. The idea is obviously the winner of this fight then fights the winner of Luke Campbell, Vasyl Lomachenko. Presuming, and I think it will be Loma. I mean, they're not ready for Loma. I mean, Richard Comey can cause Loma problems because he's rangy and he can punch, but they're not ready. I would rather see the winner of this fight Devin Haney. That's the kind of level I think they are at. But to be fair, Richard Comey is a different fighter. I just don't think Teofimo Lopez is ready for him. Not yet. Another fight announced this weekend, and we'll talk about this a bit more, especially the World Boxing Super Series, is Inoue versus Daenerys for the WBA and IBF titles. This fight will go down in Japan, the Saitama Arena, November 7th. I wonder if this will be the end for the World Boxing Super Series. We're going to touch on the issue that's happening with them and progress in a minute. But yeah, that fight's been announced. Should be a good little scrap for all of 2 or 3 rounds. I think Inoue was smoking. Josh Warrington will fight Sofiane Takouche October 12th. I saw a lot of people, I was going to make a video about this one and then Daniel Dubois one I'm going to talk about in a minute. I saw a lot of people give this fight a bit of stick. Come on, people. I mean, I missed the negative. But Josh Warrington is active, and his last 3 fights have been against Selby, Frampton, and Kid Galahad. You can have a gimme. I mean, again, I'm the negative one here, but you can have a gimme. I have no problem with this fight whatsoever. I mean, boxers don't fight killer after killer after killer. They don't. And he's had 3 tough fights, mentally as well. 3 hard fights, and he's come through all 3 of them. So for me, you can have, which many people are calling a gimme. No gimmies in boxing, not at this level, but you can have one. My only asterisk with this one is that Shakur Stevenson, who will now fight for the vacant WBO belt, vacated by Oscar Valdez, did say he would come to the UK and fight Josh Warrington for this IBF title. And Josh Warrington said, no thank you, I'm looking for a bigger fight next. And then he fights Sofiane. So that's my only asterisk about it. Frank Warren did say, as he always says, that he sent a massive offer to Leo Santa Cruz for this fight to be against Leo Santa Cruz. Again, Frank has said that before. We don't know what this offer is, but didn't materialize. And again, I hate to say it, but I did say this. Can Frank secure the big fights? We've seen that Billy Joe Saunders has gone because he couldn't secure anything for Billy Joe Saunders. Now Josh Warrington's asking for a big fight. It's easy to do the UK ones. Can you get one of the big Americans or the big guys based in America? Don't know. It doesn't look like it. We'll see. This fight I like a lot. Lawrence Okoli will fight Yves Ngabo for the European title. I think Ngabo's from Belgium, but originally I think from Congo, I think. Unbeaten. This fight will take place October or November. Not quite sure where yet, but I'm guessing Ngabo will travel to the UK. I guess it'll be more money for him. I like this route, right? I like this route a lot that Lawrence Okoli is doing. British, Commonwealth, European. The traditional route. There was a lot of rumours that he will fight Lebedev. Remember that 6-7 months ago? Lebedev is obviously retired now, and I think someone else is going to fight for the vacant belt. But that would have been a risky fight, not only for him in terms of winning that fight, but okay, you're there, you're at world level now. He's not at world level. For me, he is at European level, and I think this route's good. Couple defenses of that European title if he wins, and then world level. Lawrence Okoli, he might not stylistically be the best boxer, but his style is very awkward, right? It's a very awkward style that no one seems to know how to kind of work out, and that could take him a long way. All right, the rematch between Julian Williams and Jarrett Hurst seems to be getting closer. They're targeting it for December the 14th. The hold-up here has been about VADA. Julian Williams has said he's not fighting anyone next until that person signs up for VADA. I think this is fantastic. I think more boxers should do this. I think that was the hold-up. No allegations thrown at Jarrett Hurst. But he says, look, if you want the rematch with me, fine, I'll give you the rematch, but you've got to sign up for VADA. and I think that's fantastic. That will be a great fight again. I think the first fight was fantastic. The second fight will be a good one as well. All right, Devin Haney will fight Zal Abdulayev September the 15th. This is the card that Eddie Hearn is doing with the Zone. Hunter will take on Kuzman. Good fight on that card. Heather Hardy's on that card as well. Jose Ramirez has been ordered to defend his belts against Jack Catterall. Interesting. They got 30 days to negotiate. Negotiation ends 5th of September. Daniel Dubois versus Ebenezer Tete. Now, I was going to do a video on this, but I thought we'll talk about it a bit more on this show. Remember, it is for the Commonwealth strap. Joe Joyce vacated that. This fight will take place September 27th. This got a lot of stick. A lot of stick that I didn't understand, if I'm honest with you. This is Daniel Dubois' 13th fight. I don't know. Maybe people expected, I don't know, him to fight King Kong after beating Nathan Gorman, but I have absolutely no problem with this fight. Another one, almost like the Josh Warrington fight, I have absolutely no problem. It's his 13th fight. It's a Commonwealth belt. He's got the British belt. Again, I like that route. What's the problem? I mean, you got the lineal heavyweight champion of the world fighting Otto Wallin. I mean, anything goes here, people. Anything goes. I just like that he's active. This will be his full fight in 2019. And this is what, September. He wins this one. He could come out again in December. I mean, I like the activity. And don't get it twisted. These fighters from Africa, remember the fight he fought prior to Nathan Gorman? They come to fight. They're not your Polish cab drivers. So although we don't know them, they're very proud and they come and give a go. They come and give a go. And I have absolutely no problem with it. If he wins that, look, I mean, go and look at who else other people were fighting in their 13th fight. No one was fighting killers. Nobody. So again, no problem with Daniel Dubois versus Ebenezer Tete. No problem at all. Adrian Broner's close to finalising a deal to fight Ivan Redkach in October at 140 pounds, where he should be. Be such a disappointment to me. Can't lie to you. And it's weird, right? I'm calling a disappointment to a guy that's a 40 world champion. But he is. I think he could have been, and it's a could have, because he won't be it anymore, but he could have been something special. Like, I think seriously special. But you can't burn the candle at both ends, and that's what he's been doing. He was on Instagram Live recently, I think about 4 or 5 days ago, pretty much putting all the 140 pounders on notice. And then I think in that he called out specifically Progress. So that's a fight that could happen soon. Talking about Progress, Progress, I always get his name butchered, don't I? He's got this big issue with the World Boxing Super Series. Now, I'm not going to touch too much into it because I don't know too much about it, but I've read both statements. But the long and short of it is that him and his promoter, Lou DeBella, have filed a lawsuit against the World Boxing Super Series. They want out. That's the simple. They want out of the tournament. They said that, you know, when they signed the contract initially, they were promised a certain amount of fights in a certain time frame. This hasn't happened. Money was supposed to be deposited in escrow. This hasn't happened. So I do wonder now if this Josh Taylor fight, which was rumoured for September, will happen. I don't think it will. They're struggling, aren't they, the World Boxing Super Series? I think this could be, and I think I touched on it before with Inoue versus Danair, but I wonder if this is the last series. Probably is. I think the first series, which was fantastic, but they paid a hell of a lot of money, right? I remember reading something ridiculous like Usyk getting like $10 million or something crazy like that anyway. They paid too much money and they just don't have the finances. Plus, I don't think they have the TV partner like before. They was linked in the UK with ITV. ITV no longer show it, and now they kind of been jumping around. The last show in Scotland was on Sky Sports, so it's all a bit of a mess right now, which is a shame because I do think it's a fantastic tournament. All right, Manny Pacquiao, obviously coming off that good win against Keith Thurman. His representatives have said they have no interest in a rematch with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is doing the rounds right now. He was on TMZ saying that he wants the rematch, that the fight was a draw. It wasn't a draw. It wasn't a draw. So they're saying they have no interest in that Keith Thurman rematch. The three names they did mention, obviously Floyd, no surprise there. But then they said they wouldn't mind fighting Mikey or Danny Garcia. No mention here about fighting the winner of Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I'm guessing he doesn't want to go down that route. But nothing to prove, especially if it's Errol Spence. There's nothing for a small 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao to prove fighting Errol Spence. Nothing at all. All right, let's quickly touch on, I've done a number of videos on this anyway, but let's quickly touch on this Joshua Ruiz situation. Obviously, the fight was announced for December 7th in Saudi Arabia. You guys know how I feel about that. look, regardless, and I said this on, I think, Twitter, that regardless of where the fight's happening, 7th of December, 11 p.m, ring walk, I'm tuning in, right? So in the end, we still get to see these guys fight, I think. I say that because everyone has been tweeting about this fight, everyone apart from the champion, Andy Ruiz. Every single person at Matchroom, everyone at Sky Sports, The Zone, some of the big wigs in America that know their boxing have tweeted about it. Andy Ruiz hasn't tweeted about it, which is interesting. I did say that I think up until about a week ago, this fight was heading towards the Mexico route, right? And I think Andy Ruiz obviously very happy about that. Now it's going Saudi Arabia. He's not very happy. But not only that, but we're hearing that the rematch clause contract that he signed sort of says that he will get paid $9 million. $9 million. And now obviously he's hearing that Saudi Arabia are paying 40 million, I think it's pounds, just to have the fight in Saudi Arabia. He doesn't get a penny of that or a cent of that, doesn't get anything, only gets what he's signed. So maybe he's not too happy. Look, that's what you signed. That's what you signed. He was fighting for, I don't know, $200,000-$300,000 3 months ago. Now he's possibly going to get 9 million. Fucking just take the fight. Joshua's mentioned a few things. He's done a few sound bites in the lead up to this. Had that interview with Sky Sports and JD Sports, saying that 9 times out of 10 he beats Ruiz. No, he doesn't. I'm a Joshua fan. 9 times out of 10 he doesn't beat Ruiz, but obviously it makes sense to say that. He said that also in the lead up to the fight, his mind was on Wilder. I don't like Joshua saying these type of stuff personally, but okay, cool. What I do like is that he said he isn't going to sack Rob McCracken, which I think is fair, right? I mean, no one actually thought he was going to, but he is going to add more people to the team, boxing people. He said he's going to reach back out to George Foreman. George Foreman reached out to him, and he's going to reach out to George Foreman. I don't know if this is just for a conversation or he's going to add George Foreman to the team, which will be a bit strange. But regardless, he says he wants to be around boxing people, which makes sense, right? So again, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next sort of week, 2 weeks with this Saudi Arabia thing, because Ruiz isn't happy. A fight that no one's talking about, and they should be, because this will be a barnstormer. Bertabiev, the IBF champion, and Vosdik, the WBC champion. That's going to be absolutely spectacular. Dana White will launch his own boxing promotion called Zuffa Boxing this, I think, October. I'm not quite sure where it's going to land, who he's going to sign, but I'm guessing it probably will be on ESPN with that UFC ESPN link. If the American boxing public thought Eddie Hearn was a nuisance, fucking hell, once Dana White gets going, no stopping that train, mate. A couple of last bits here. Ishe Smith, former IBF 154-pound champion. You guys might remember him from the Contender Series. Was signed to Mayweather Promotions for a while. He will make his bare-knuckle boxing debut 21st of September. And this is what's going to happen, people. If they are going to pay, it looks like they are going to pay this BKFC, I think it's BKFC, then you're going to get a lot of these former fighters or guys maybe coming to the end that will take these fights. All right, let's end on this one. Anthony Yard, Kovalev, obviously this fight's in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. Kovalev said he was offered good step-aside money. He even said that the final offer was as good as the money he's getting to fight. And he still said no. That shows that his mind is on winning that belt. He thinks he will go to Russia and beat Kovalev. Canelo, who obviously was chasing the Kovalev fight, hasn't announced his fight. He's going to wait until after this fight to announce whether it is Demetrius Andrade or Kovalev, I'm guessing. If Kovalev wins handedly, second round KO, and he could just knock Anthony Yard out in the first round, by the way, then I'm guessing they are going to do Canelo versus Kovalev as quick as possible. Maybe October, November. So yeah, that's it. That's the news, people. Peace.